A super spy's nemesis goes back in time to steal his powers. Luckily, a gorgeous secret agent is there to help him save the world. In 1967, the international man of mystery, AustinPowers, was frozen. He was defrosted in the 90s to battle Dr. Evil, who planned to send a nuclear warhead to the Earth's center. After defeating Dr. Evil, Austin settled down with his new wife Vanessa. In space, an astronaut finds a statue being used as a spaceship. Behind it, a pod is released. Meanwhile, Austin spends time with Vanessa when she suddenly stutters and repeats herself. He asks if she's okay, and Vanessa waves his concerns while crushing the champagne bottle in her hand. Uneasy, Austin goes to watch a movie instead. When he presses the rewind button on the remote, he's surprised to see his wife also rewinding her actions. He also tries the remote's mute and Spanish language buttons, and Vanessa complies. She then grabs him and Austin rips her face off, revealing that she's a fembot. Vanessa drops him and reveals machine guns on her chest to rain bullets on him. Afterward, Dr. Evil's voice booms from the fembot, declaring the kamikaze bride he sent. In 2 seconds, the fembot explodes, ruining the hotel room, but Austin is unharmed. He mourns that his one true love was apparently a fembot. However, this also means that he's single again, so he celebrates his freedom. Meanwhile, Dr. Evil's son, Scott, becomes a guest on the Jerry Springer show. He shares that his father wants to dominate the world, but he's cryogenically frozen in space. However, the host, Jerry Springer, reveals that Dr. Evil is actually there, surprising his son. Dr. Evil apologizes to his son for leaving him, but excuses that Scott isn't evil enough. Another guest insults the two, and Scott argues with the other man. However, it's Dr. Evil who throws the first punch. The stage becomes rowdy until Jerry intervenes, though when he complains about Dr. Evil under his breath, the man hears it and throws more punches. The next day, Basil contacts Austin, who mourns that his wife was a fembot. Basil's organization knew about this apparently, so he's quick to dismiss it and discuss Austin's next mission. He tasks him to do a photo shoot where one of the models works for Dr. Evil. Immediately, Austin heads to the photo shoot and meets the models, Rebecca and Ivana. Enchanted by Ivana, Austin invites her for a private time after their photo shoot. During this, Dr. Evil is at his headquarters, which doubles as a Starbucks since the organization invested in the company. While the mastermind drinks a foamy latte, his right-hand man, number 2, explains how they can increase profits by investing in Starbucks instead of evil empires. The mastermind asserts that he makes the decisions, and when number 2 points out the foam on his nose, he silences him. Dr. Evil then turns to his henchwoman, Frau, who announces her new relationship with Unibrow. Finally, she points out the foam on his face, and Dr. Evil casually wipes it, claiming that he knew about it all along. They then present to him their attempt to clone Dr. Evil during his time in ice. However, the clone is only 1/8 his size. Still, Dr. Evil is impressed and names his clone Mini-Me. Mini-Me sits next to Dr. Evil, who then discusses AustinPowers. When Scott insults his father's failures against the spy, Mini-Me goes to press the control button to dispose of him, but Dr. Evil stops him. Dr. Evil then defends that Austin always defeats him because he has mojo, so he developed a time machine to return to the 60s and steal it. Scott wonders why he doesn't use the time machine to kill Austin while his defenses are down, and Dr. Evil flatly says no. Number 2 suggests using his knowledge of the future to make trillions out of the stock market, but Dr. Evil argues that making billions is better. Scott laughs, pointing out that trillions are more. Pissed, Dr. Evil tells him to zip. When Scott tries to argue, he keeps playing with the word zip it, before unveiling the time portal. He intends to travel to 1969, where Austin has been frozen for 2 years. Thus, he'll be helpless. With that, he bids everyone goodbye and jumps into the portal. However, it's not activated yet, so he slams and falls. Finally, number 2 activates it, and Dr. Evil invites Mini-Me to join him. Arriving in 1969, he meets the younger number 2, but Frau looks exactly the same. At present, Austin takes Ivana to his room, where they flirtatiously play chess. Just then, Ivana confesses that Dr. Evil sent her to kill Austin, but she's too attracted to him, so she invites him to bed. In 1969, one of the guards watching over Austin's frozen body is Dr. Evil's henchman named Fat Bastard. He uses his modified bagpipes to knock out the other guards and then steals Austin's mojo. This makes the spy fail in bed with Ivana. The next day, Austin raises his concern to Basil, who has discovered that Dr. Evil developed a time machine and is in 1969. To stop whatever he's planning, Basil presents Austin with a car that can also travel through time. With that, Austin excitedly drives the car, though he wrecks some equipment before finally traveling to the 60s. He ends up in a club where the dancers recognize the famous spy. When Robin catches his eye, one of the dancers, Felicity, notices them, so she approaches Austin, who dumps the other woman for her. Robin tries to steal Austin back, so Felicity calls her backup dancers to stave the woman off. She then warns the spy that Robin works for Dr. Evil before leaving. Robin gets Austin's attention back and she positions him to help her comrade throw a knife at him. However, the spy sees the reflection in her eyes, so he redirects her to get stabbed instead. Despite being wounded, Robin orders her comrade to use a machine gun, but Austin uses her as a shield. He then uses a bazooka, and again, Austin uses Robin as a shield. The two get thrown out the window, so Austin puts Robin in front of him to cushion his fall. After all this, Robin still threatens the spy, and Austin wonders why she's not dead yet. Her comrade starts shooting at the spy, but luckily, Felicity arrives and gives him a ride. She introduces herself as a CIA agent, and the two start flirting. After leaving the city, another assassin chases them, but Felicity easily shoots the man's tires, making him crash into a cliff. The assassin survives and introduces himself as Mustafa before attacking. Austin easily disarms him and Felicity captures him. Austin interrogates Mustafa, who confesses after being questioned repeatedly. He admits that he can't stand being asked thrice, so the other two use this to gain information. However, Mini-Me, who's disguised as a baby, shoots a blow dart at Mustafa, making him fall to the cliff. He survives this, but Austin just listens to his pleas for help and apologizes before leaving. Soon, Fat Bastard arrives at Dr. Evil's lair to deliver the mojo. Dr. Evil uses the mojo, making him irresistible to Frau, so they have some private time. The next day, Felicity takes Austin to the Ministry of Defense, where his frozen body is kept. Instead of focusing on the investigation, Austin is more enthralled to see himself. He and Felicity then go on a date around town, forging a connection between the two. In contrast, things become awkward between Frau and Dr. Evil since he hasn't called her since their encounter. The mastermind defends that he can't let his feelings for her interfere with his world domination plans. Frau declares that she won't love another man, and Dr. Evil realizes that this is true, given who she's dating in the 90s. Suddenly, Frau announces that she's late, implying that she's carrying his child. Just then, Scott arrives through the time portal, hoping to work things out with his father. However, Dr. Evil is content with having Mini-Me as his son. That night, at Austin's pad, he checks the photographs he took of his frozen body and discovers how his mojo was stolen. This makes him nervous as he won't be able to perform with Felicity. When he steps out, Felicity asks for a massage, putting more pressure on the spy. She then declares her motives, but Austin regretfully turns her down and leaves. This breaks Felicity's heart. Suddenly, Basil calls Felicity, who shares that Austin left her. Basil explains that she shouldn't get too close to him as it's not meant to be. She assures him that she's a professional, so Basil assigns her to plant a homing device on Fat Bastard. Because of this, Felicity ends up with a henchman, where she plants the device while he's turned away. One day, Dr. Evil explains his plan to put a laser on the moon to destroy Washington, D.C. He then declares that he'll name the moon their Death Star, and Scott chuckles as he ripped off the name. The mastermind continues that Dr. Parsons invented the laser, so he'll call it the Alan Parsons Project. Again, Scott laughs, since the Alan Parsons Project is a rock band, but his father shushes him. Tired of the family squabbling, number 2 tries to lead the discussion, but Dr. Evil childishly bounces his globe at his face to assert dominance until the man cries. Meanwhile, Austin finds Felicity to apologize and explain that he lost his mojo. This makes her glad as she thought he didn't like her. She then shares that she planted a homing device on Fat Bastard. As she's about to confess what she had to do to gain the man's trust, the device locates their target, so they hurry to the location instead. However, when they get there, they find that the device has been left in the toilet. The men are disgusted by this, but Felicity orders them to get a sample to be analyzed at the lab. Soon, they reach the lab, where Austin tries to get coffee. However, he gets distracted by Felicity, so he ends up pouring a cup of the sample instead. Before he drinks, Basil arrives, announcing that they found a rare vegetable from the sample that only grows on one island, thus locating Dr. Evil's lair. When Austin complains about the coffee smell, Basil tells him what it is. Thinking that he's joking, the spy drinks it, and everyone turns away in disgust. In the lair, number 2 raises his concern about Mini-Me's tendency to bite people, but Dr. Evil declares that he's just teething. He then contacts the US president to announce that he'll destroy Washington, D.C. with his laser. Dr. Evil will continue destroying major cities every hour until he gets paid $100 billion. This makes the president's men laugh since that amount of money doesn't even exist yet. Not believing this, Dr. Evil tells the president to show me the money, but they don't get the reference since the movie Jerry Maguire hasn't come out yet. Pissed, Dr. Evil commands his men to fire the laser, and the screen shows the White House getting destroyed. The president and his men duck for cover, but Dr. Evil just shows them footage from the movie Independence Day, though he assures them that the real laser will be like that. Unbeknownst to them, Austin and Felicity arrive on the island, though they end up wearing the same swimsuit. As they set up camp, Dr. Evil performs a song with Mini-Me. However, Scott arrives to complain that Mini-Me placed a dead skunk in his bed. The mastermind scolds his clone but can't stay mad at him. That night, Austin and Felicity plot how to get into the lair. While Austin checks the map, Felicity digs through their bag for the explosives. Dr. Evil's henchmen locate them, but they get disturbed when their silhouettes imply that Felicity is pulling out multiple items from her comrade's body. Meanwhile, Dr. Evil performs another song with Mini-Me, expressing his disappointment in his son. This pisses Scott off, so he storms off. Eventually, Austin and Felicity are taken into the lair, where Fat Bastard complains about the woman's performance during their night. Austin refuses to believe that she was with him, but Felicity confirms that she did what she had to. Moving on, Dr. Evil presents Austin's mojo and declares that he'll take it to the moon. With that, Austin gets taken away, though Scott predicts that the spy will escape like always. Finally, Dr. Evil and Mini-Me head to their rocket while Frau begins the countdown. This takes too long, so Dr. Evil instructs her to say go when the doors close. When she does, they launch the rocket. Meanwhile, Austin and Felicity are taken to a cell where they're separated by lava. The man is still pissed that she was with Dr. Evil's henchmen, but she defends that it was her job. Still, she apologizes, noting that she only did it because she thought it was what he'd do. Felicity confesses that she became a spy to be like him, only to realize that she actually wants to be with him instead. This encourages Austin to leap over the lava to reach her. To get past the guard, Felicity presents herself to him and lures him into the lava. Dr. Evil arrives at his moon base 6 hours before the moon moves over Washington, D.C. However, his rotating chair malfunctions, making him nauseous. Meanwhile, Felicity and Austin use Apollo 11 to reach the moon. Soon, Dr. Evil's plan begins, but Mini-Me's chair starts malfunctioning this time and sends him to the ceiling. As someone tries to save him, the president contacts Dr. Evil, assuring him that they have the money. With that, Dr. Evil gives them 30 minutes to send it to him. Felicity and Austin soon land on the moon and infiltrate Dr. Evil's base. Spotting a silhouette ahead, Austin approaches alone while Felicity searches the area. Mini-Me ambushes Austin and easily defeats him. Eventually, Austin surrenders, but the clone kicks him and continues. Angered, the spy tosses the clone against the wall but feels guilty for hurting him. This ends when Mini-Me bites him and crawls into his suit. With no choice, Austin ejects him into the disposal unit and watches him float into space. Finally, Austin reaches the control room and confronts Dr. Evil. However, the mastermind has captured Felicity and fills her chamber with poisonous gas. Choosing to save the world, Austin kicks Frau, who's controlling the laser, to make her miss the planet. He gets horrified when Felicity loses consciousness, so he goes to her. Her heart monitor flatlines, but he has no time to mourn as he chases after Dr. Evil. He manages to shoot him in the leg, but the mastermind declares that he is his father. This, however, is only a distraction that fails, so Dr. Evil reminds Austin that they have a time machine that would allow him to save Felicity. He implies that he should use that instead of capturing him. Just then, Frau arrives and shoots at Austin. The spy escapes and uses the time machine to return 10 minutes earlier. Austin arrives at the time another him enters the control room, so the two Austins split up to save both the world and Felicity. When his plan fails, Dr. Evil activates the base's self-destruction before tossing the mojo to distract the two Austins. They fail to catch it in time, and Dr. Evil escapes. As Austin mourns his loss, the other Austin flees through the time machine. Felicity grabs her comrade, assuring him that he never lost his mojo since he still saved the world. With seconds left, Austin invites Felicity to go with him into the 90s, so they enter the time machine just before the moon base explodes. In 1999, Felicity and Austin declare their love for each other. Their moment is interrupted when Fat Bastard arrives to assassinate them. To distract him, Felicity asks him if he's happy. The henchman declares that he's rich, though he admits that he's actually sad as he can't stop eating. Despite this, he decides to kill the two anyway. However, Felicity manages to kick him, knocking him out. With that, Felicity presses a button that begins a 60s party in Austin's pad. Meanwhile, Dr. Evil escapes in his rocket and manages to retrieve Mini-Me. They then head back to Earth, plotting to take vengeance against AustinPowers. Soon, Scott returns to the Jerry Springer show, where he finally learns that Frau is his mother. The two hug, earning applause from the audience. In Springer's final thought, he declares that no one can take anyone's mojo, as what anyone wants is inside them all along. A month later, Austin returns home only to overhear Felicity with another man. When he enters, he discovers that she's with the past Austin all along. The two Austins laugh this off and get excited to try something extraordinary. Elsewhere, Mustafa is still stuck at the bottom of the cliff, begging for an ambulance.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.